I would like to call this meeting to order. May I have approval of the agenda, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. Next item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Dennis, would you lead? All right, Jennifer, I think we have you up next for announcements and recognitions. You're right. Announcements first, then Jennifer. Thanks.
Since the last board meeting, we have graduated 463 students, celebrated and honored our retirees, kicked off the summer school food program, which is now up and running at a number of locations throughout the city. Went to state for baseball for the first time in 24 years. The district will hold a community information session at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, June 28th at the Colac Education Center. The community is invited to hear about the proposed future options for the Colac Education Center and provide feedback on the options. The district will consider the community's input before releasing a request for proposal for a developer for the site. Summer school started last week and students are having a great time. Registrations are being accepted at the schools. Please note that there will be no summer school on July 3rd and 4th. The first day of school for 2017-2018 school year will be September 5th, 2017. Be sure to watch our website and Facebook pages for more information on back-to-school events. Please note the district will be closed on July 4th. Thank you. This concludes this evening's announcements.
Take it away. I'll stop trying to save time and go in order.
It's all right. Good evening. I am Jen Thompson, the Community Relations Coordinator and Public Information Officer for the School District of Beloit. We are recognizing quite a few students tonight for their contributions to the school district and their accomplishments both in and out of the classroom. Now, as a theater major, I might not understand completely what these students have done and the rules of their games, but I certainly understand and appreciate their perseverance and fortitude that it takes to be successful. I also understand the long hours, the late nights, often sacrificing social life for the love of your game. Tonight, we celebrate several groups of student athletes who are here. Many could not be here because the baseball team is playing baseball. Students work, and you've graduated. So tonight we're going to honor a number of seniors as well as many state students who went to state in their sport. So I'd like to bring up our athletic director, Joel Beard, to assist me with this. Got something you want to say? I have a list of our seniors.
Hello, I'm Joel Beard, Athletic Director. A lot of our students, like Jen said, were but weren't able to make it tonight. But I do want to read the list, and if you are here, please come up and say something.
Yes, well, come up and stand right in front of the podium.
Correct. Okay, for football, we had Tariq Amin. He's going to Texas Southern College. Baseball, we had Miguel Betancourt. He's going to Ellsworth College. For softball, we had Addison Brixton, who's going to UW Oshkosh. Basketball, Fred Brown, who's going to Rock Valley College. Cross country and track, we have Bailey Cronin, who's going to Oakland University in Michigan. Soccer, boys soccer, we had Denelson Cruz Gonzalez. He's going to UW Platteville. Another boys soccer, Rodrigo Espino. He's going to Loras College. A couple basketball players, Bryant Farr and Drew Freitag Bryant Farr is going to Rock Valley College, and Drew Freitag is going to Edgewood College to play basketball and baseball. Austin Jensen for baseball is going to Bethany Lutheran College. Tyler Jensen for hockey was drafted by a juniors team in Cincinnati. Anthony Johnson is going to basketball to play at Madison College. Sam Klobuchar is going for golf, going to UW Stout. Ava Lawn Smith is going to Beloit College for track and field and volleyball. Avery Lewis is going to Grinnell College for baseball. Stephen Mackinnon is going to UW Oshkosh for football. Jaquan Pegues and his cousin Tyrese Pegues Jones are going to Lakeland to play basketball. Or Jaquan's going to play basketball. Tyrese is going to play football. Philip Selmer is going to Southwestern Iowa Community College to do track. Brianne Swanson is going to Beloit College for softball. Brady Wright, again, is going to juniors for hockey. Boys soccer, Andres De La Torre is UW Whitewater. Alberto Robles, Madison College. Alberto Martinez, Madison College. Amina Crawford, Beloit College for girls soccer. Valerie Franklin, girls soccer at St. Cloud State. Jackson Prouse, boys swimming, UW La Crosse. I knew he was here. Michaela Fraley Markley. I hope I didn't say that. I said it just okay. Going to UW Stevens Point. Mariah Edwards Munoz is going to UW Stevens Point. Tyler Curtis Dupuis is going to Lawrence University for football. Mitchell Pham is going to UW Rock for tennis. Dale Edwards is also going to UW Rock for tennis. And for basketball, Jalen Jones, girls basketball, is going to Madison College. That's our list for seniors that are going to college to play athletics. We also like to recognize a group of teams that made it to state this year as well. For state track, we had Alberto Martinez, Amaya Bessel, Bailey Cronin, Ava Lawn Smith, Jasmine Carter, Adela Diaz, Yolanda Johnson, and Coach Shaver, obviously, because he's our head coach. Ava Lawn Smith actually won the state track meet in the triple jump. Yeah, it was very good. Yolanda Johnson and Amaya Bessel finished second and third in the 300 intermediate hurdles. Oh, sorry. Wrong. Adela Diaz. Sorry. Won 300 intermediate hurdles. Second and third place. That also garnered Coach Shaver being the Coach of the Year from the Wisconsin State Journal, just announced a couple of days ago, or last week. So congratulations to him as well. Our state baseball team.
Coach Shaver, you're here?
Oh, yeah, he's right there.
You must come stand as well.
Our state baseball team obviously made a great run in the playoffs this year. I'd like to recognize them by name. We had Drew Freitag, J.D. Dixon, Avery Lewis, Miguel Betancourt, Trent Porter, Felix Estrella, Tyrese Crosby, Corbin Ovist, Jerron Coleman, Jonathan Donovan, that's a tough one, Jacob Patch, Brendan Stavin, Max Sage, Matt Elliott, Stephen Mackinnon, Jonathan Ryan, Brett Kiger, and Austin Jensen. They're unable to be here. They're playing baseball. We also had our boys swimming advanced to state. We also have Coach Vogel here. I would rather him talk about his state boys swimming state team, because he has a lot of things, good things going on with the swim program, and I think he would do it more justice than I would.
Seems like we're here every year, and that's kind of nice. First of all, before anything, even though I'm the face a lot of times of swimming here in Beloit, I need to thank our coaching staff, because I do not do this all by myself. First, Kim Wade, who's our head girls swimming coach. All right. And Kathy Landon's here tonight, and she's our USA Tide coach for United States Swimming, and which has really helped our swim program tremendously for a long time now, and we're real happy with everything that's happened with that. I'd like to real quick touch on the fact that some names were mentioned. Our girls swim team again this year won the National Gold Award for academics for the 12th year in a row. And Michaela, who cannot be here tonight, she was the Wisconsiners Classic Swimming Co-Association All-State in academics, and she was also a NISCA Academic All-American, and she'll be going to Stevens Point in the fall as well in swimming. Heaven Wells, who not going to be here tonight, she's already been honored. She also made the WISCA, not academic, but swimming All-State, and she broke 2 school records this year, and in the 100 freestyle and 100 backstroke. On our boys swim team, for the first time ever, after finishing either silver or bronze the last 11 years, we finally won the gold award for academics with a 3.76 GPA for our varsity. That was really nice. Jackson was not only an all-state academic, he was also an academic all-American, and he'll be, like I said, he was going to UW lacrosse, and he could not be here tonight. Niall Gillen was also all-state for academics and all-American, and he'll be going to Georgetown in the fall. State qualifiers. Jackson qualified for state for the 2nd year in a row. He swam the 5th fastest time in the school's history to finish 17th at the state high school meet this year. He was also a member of our medley relay, which swam the 3rd fastest time in school's history. And on that relay with him was Jim Sanis. Jim, stand up, show your. All right. Jim. Jackson swam the breaststroke leg. The butterflyer was Adrian Savich. And is Max at work tonight? Is Max working tonight? Not Max. Nate, is he working? No. Well, Nate Sill was the anchor on that relay. So 3rd fastest. Our 200 free relay. Swam the 2nd fastest time in school's history, missed the school record by 38 hundredths of a second, and there wasn't a senior on the relay, and that was really nice. Adrian led off that relay with Kyle Raisbeck swimming the 2nd leg. Will Koblakar is in Iowa, I've been told. And the anchor again was Nate Sill. And then our 400 free relay, again, Adrian led it off with, did you swim that 2nd leg? And 2nd leg was swum by Kyle Raisbeck. 3rd leg was swum by Ryan Santis. And again, the anchor was by Nate Sill. Also a member of our state team was Omar Cancino, Ben Levy, Max Saladar, and Tyler Davis. And what's really nice about that, only 2 of them were seniors. So we have a lot of experience coming back next year. We also won the Rock County Championships this year, and we also won the Manitowoc Invite, which happens to be my alma mater. So it was nice to go back and beat my old team. Again, another tremendous year. I just want to say one thing. One of the nice things about living in this community, and I've lived in Beloit for 37 years, is Kim and Coach Landon will admit to this, that we see our kids grow up. We know our kids since basically from the cradle to when they graduate. And to paraphrase Vince Lombardi, somebody asked which was your greatest team when he was coaching, and he said, we'll find out when they what they become as they get older. And watching these guys grow up and see what kind of things they do with their life will determine how great a team they really are, because I always look back more on what they become than what they were in high school, and that's probably the most important thing that we do. Thank you.
To close, one thing that theater taught me was when you make a mistake, you own it and you move on. So apparently, I did not prepare certificates for our gentlemen swimmers. So rest assured, you will be getting those. So I made a mistake and I will own it. You guys represent the school district of Beloit and Beloit Memorial High School so well. We are so grateful to you because you help us tell great stories and you help us be a great district.
Chris?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment, and we've recognized a lot of student athletes tonight and a couple of coaches, but I just want to publicly say how important coaches are to our student athletes and to our families. They, you put a lot, I was a daughter of a coach, and you put a lot of time and a lot of heart. You're away from your families a lot, and there can be great rewards, but they're usually not monetary. And I just want to let them know how much as a board we appreciate all their hard work and their dedication. So thank you.
So I'd like to echo that, but also add, I'd like to draw attention to the community to the sheer number of kids that we recognize tonight, and to really start to own that we are Beloit proud, and that consistently we turn out amazing athletes and amazing kids, and we need to really consistently own that. I also, Dole, if you will please take back to baseball, I'd like to thank the baseball team for the best board meeting ever. No disrespect to any other board or board meeting, but also, again, on the same lines, Beloit had more fans in those stands for that game than the opposing team, and I think that's something also to be very proud of. So thank you for all that you're doing and the great progress. Appreciated. Next item on the agenda. Oh, sorry, Lisa.
Just briefly, not only on behalf of the board, but as a swim parent, I want to also say my appreciation to all the coaches. Yes, thank you for sitting back down. And to say thank you, gentlemen, for all the work that you've done. I hope all of you have said thanks to your parents, since I know the kinds of boys you are. I'm sure you have. But please, please remember to thank your parents for the work that they do in collaboration with your coaches. Nice job.
And I think it's all been said, but I want to make sure that again, the coaches are also recognized for, I have been on the board before, but I don't remember ever seeing a list this long of kids that are going on to college athletics. And I want to say, thank you to Bob, but it is a huge undertaking from the coaches to help these kids find a place to go. Coming from a parent who didn't have a clue and I waited for coaches to call. And I had no idea how to do that journey. Thank you, Bob, and thank you to all of you that helped the kids take that next level, because without the coaches helping us find those schools, we wouldn't have a list near as long as that. So thank you.
All right, no other comments, so I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is citizens or delegations wishing to speak. Do we have anybody? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to ask that if we have citizens and delegations that you fill out a little card. It's a whole change. And I also, bear with me because I now need to read this, so hang on in there for a moment. Members of the audience, the Board of Education is now at the place on the agenda where we will receive public comments from citizens or delegations on areas of interest that are not on the agenda. The Board of Education will generally not respond or act on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Appropriate items will be referred to administration or one of the board's committees. Citizens wishing to speak on one of the posted agenda items may do so as items are called by the board president. While the board and district welcome public comments, we as a board also must ask that you exercise care in your comments that relate specifically to district employees or persons connected with the school system. In order to protect rights of these individuals individuals, and in the interest of complying with open meetings law on prior posting of items for consideration at this meeting, the board reserves the right to end comments on such topics. The use of specific names of district personnel may lead to legal liability on the part of the speaker. The board would also remind the public that the board has existing procedures in place to dispose of legitimate complaints against staff members and persons related to the system. Persons desiring to speak should come to the podium and give their name and address before beginning to speak. Each person is asked to speak no more than 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Dorothy Harold, 2284 Boulder Court, Beloit, Wisconsin. I come to raise an issue that I talked about 6 months ago, and that is about the police officers in the school. I had questions about it then, I have questions about it now, and I think it's something that the board needs to take a hard look at. Is the police presence in the school criminalizing behaviors or beginning the school-to-prison pipeline? Just their presence in the school increases the likelihood that there will be a law enforcement resolution rather than a disciplinary procedure. We've had police officers in the school since the 1980s, early 1980s. I shared an office with the very first police officer at Lincoln, Tom Fern. We left Lincoln, we went to McNeil, Tom left, Craig Johnson came. So I spent 10 years with the school police officer. I'm not opposed to police officers per se, but I really think we have to take a look at this system and not just continue it because we've always had it. If there's an opportunity to improve the system, then let's take advantage of that. Let's make sure that school personnel and the liaison know the correct intersection of the code of conduct and law enforcement. And we need to make sure that we have alternatives to arrest and that the police liaison officers are aware of restorative justice practices. I had a question about whether you're getting adequate reports on student encounters and their outcomes, and if you ever get an annual report on what's going on with the school resource officers. Do we have any data? I look at the strategic plan all the way through. The committee talks about data, research, review. Is that happening with this program? Do we have any data about whether the presence in our schools for over 30 years has done anything to improve discipline, to decrease truancy, to help with student behavior? 30-some years, 30, almost 37 years now, the program has been in our schools. So what is it that we wanted from that program? Why did we start the program? And what are we going to do about it now? The police presence in the school seems to have evolved from community involvement to enforcement. And I think that interaction, if it occurs, should be in a positive way. One of the things that they do in Madison is that the police liaison teach a class within one of the programs. I think it's the health program, and they teach a class on personal safety. I think that one of the goals that they had for the police liaison program when it started in the 80s was for students to see police officers as people. I don't think that's really happening now. I think they're seen as the law. I also think it will be important for them to be very well trained in understanding the development of a child's brain. They also need to have tactics or learn tactics around de-escalation. And it's especially important that they have classes and training on how to interact with special needs students. I think if it's possible, we should probably get the public's opinion prior to the beginning of the next school year about what's an effective implementation of the police liaison program if we are going to continue it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next agenda item, which is Superintendent's report to the board.
Good evening. This evening we have 4 brief reports, and I'm going to preview them for those watching at home so you can keep your television on. First, we have the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation presentation by Assistant Superintendent Bonds and Rick Barter. They are additionally both the current co-chairs of the Business, Education, and Partnership Committee. They will be followed by the esteemed Mr. Berkeley and Mr. Bonds again with a brief summer school update, to be followed with an ad hoc academic achievement update from Mr. Bonds and an equity update from Dr. Williams. So take it away.
Excellent, and good evening. As a district, we strive to increase our community and business partnerships. One of the ways that we are doing this is by partnering with the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation. Rick Barter and I do serve as the co-chairs for the Education and Business Committee. Today I have Rob Hendrickson and Rick. They are going to give us some details related to some of the highlights of our programming this year.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for the opportunity to update the board on the involvement of the Business Education Partnership Committee. About 15 years ago, the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corp had an education subcommittee, and the Greater Beloit Chamber of Commerce had one as well. A decision was made to merge these two subcommittees into its present form. For your information, the Chamber is currently being led by Amy Thurner, and the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corp is being led by Andrew Yonke. Both are separate organizations who believe in the value of supporting our local educational institutions. As co-chair during this time period, our committee has worked primarily with the School District of Beloit in assisting educators in preparing students for their next career opportunity, whether that is a trade school, a college, or the workforce. The committee, our Business Education Partnership Committee, has a small budget under the auspices of the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation. This is used for out-of-pocket expenses relating to various programs in which we are involved. The Chamber provides in-kind assistance when needed. It should be pointed out that our committee does not set any kind of district policy, but play only a supporting role to administrators and teachers as to how the private sector and the business community can assist in preparing students for the next step in their lives, whether that is more education or entry into the workforce. We now have a PowerPoint presentation. I'd like to thank Stephanie Bailey, who is the administrative assistant for Andrew Yonke, and Andrew Yonke himself for their assistance in putting this PowerPoint together. So we'll power through the PowerPoint, if you will. And all right, let's go back, if you don't mind. Serving with me as a co-chair before Anthony was Jim Agate, and Jim is a manager, owner of Culver's, and Jim and I worked together for many years, and so I'd like to just publicly thank Jim for his term of service during that time period. You can see the duties and responsibilities of our committee. Let's see here. The duties and responsibilities of this committee are to work with educational and workforce development agencies, continuing existing and developing new programs for the purpose of building a skilled and professional labor force, and to recommend new educational programs to meet the needs of new businesses and the needs for changing technology. We're about partnerships, basically, partnerships with the school district on various initiatives. As Tom Johnson said recently in the newspaper, there's no one silver bullet to move our district from 2 stars to 3 stars or higher. It takes everybody cooperating, and that is what's happening in our district. So we can go to the next. Is there a list of, I don't know, you have a list of the people on our committee. I don't know, did we miss that somewhere in the slides? It was before that, okay. I mean, you can see it's a diverse group of people from Blackhawk Tech, Beloit College, Rob's with Frito-Lay, Scott Forge, Hospice. You can see who was on that committee. We meet monthly as a group. I'll tell you, I've never worked with a more dedicated group of people who don't get paid, who do this because they care about the education of not just their kids, but all kids in the district. So they're not looking for building their resumes, they're just looking for assisting young people. So part of our strategic plan, go ahead, Rob, if you would please. This is the strategic plan for the Economic Development Corp. It has many ideas and many committees, and this is just one page that we've committed to working with the district on various. These are some of the history of our involvement and engagement. I'm not going to read all of them. So the next one, our signature program is the mock interview program. Very simply, we have 40 volunteers that go in and do a mock interview in the district. All juniors in English class are expected to go through this program. There are 15 adults that go into the classroom, 2 90-minute sessions. The first session is do soft skills, how to shake hands, eye contact. The next session, next 90-minute session, is to build their resume. And a lot of them, this is the first resume they've ever done. So, and that is, I think, a testament that the teachers are really buying into this program. It started out as a volunteer program. That was not for a grade. And the district said, this is so important. We're going to have the teachers evaluate the students after the interview, and the interviewer grades the student on their dress, their posture, their shaking hands, their eye contact, and the quality of their resume, and then that's submitted to the teacher and then for a grade. And I want to recognize Chuck Gilbert, who is one of our premier facilitators that goes into the classroom and teaches like I do and like Rob does, and other people have done that. So we do it for all juniors. We reach about 450 to 500 kids, how many are ever in the junior class, and we have after the class sessions, we have the actual interview that takes place with the student. And Dorothy, I know you were an interviewer at one time. We appreciate your being an interviewer. Anybody else that? Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know. Thank you. There's always room for more. We always need more interviewers. So, Ralph, did you? Thank you. Yeah, come on back, man. We need you. So I just want to thank everybody for that. There's a handout. There's a newspaper article that was in the paper a couple last year about our program. And we also have a training session for the interviewers. John Fleiter, a lot of you know John Fleiter from Family Service. And there's a handout sheet that John goes through, and the interviewers basically are said, do no harm. Help these kids. Be critically constructive in your approach to helping these students with their interviews. I'll go through the next slide, which is career panels. You can read this for yourself. Lindsay Heelis runs this program each month. Individuals going to the high school and people from the business world, and they talk about what they do. Job Shadow program, again, Lindsay does that. And we help her out with that a little bit. They go into companies like Frito-Lay. Rob will talk a little bit about that in a second, where they spend a little bit of time at the company and what they're doing. Youth Apprenticeship is next, and that's a partnership with Blackhawk Tech. Rini Diawalis is from Blackhawk Tech, and she oversees that program with Colleen Kurth. I'm going to get gonged here in a minute, but I'm going to keep going. The Business Education Connection, and Rob, I'll turn it over to you, my friend, and you can talk about that.
Sure. So there's a lot going on all the time with our committee and the schools and the businesses. The issue we have is how to get businesses involved within this district and these programs. You heard Rick talk about mock interview program, how do you get more interviewers part of the program. Well, this is going to be the connection we're having actually September 13th at the Eclipse Center. It's actually going to be all of Rock County. It started with our committee of about 10 people deciding on this. We're now inviting Janesville also, thanks to the GBDC, Blackhawk Tech, and also Beloit College and Forward Janesville for funding this program. We're actually bringing a speaker in from the Chamber of Commerce, from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, named Jason Tizko, who's the Executive Director for Workforce Development. He's got this big program on building your talent pipeline. How do you get children into the workforce? Which I'm at Frito-Lay, so I care about Frito-Lay workforce development. And he's also talking about how do you get retention of your current employees. And what I love with my employees is they like to go to the school district, meet the kids, mentor, job shadow, career days, stuff like that. It actually builds retention for my company also, helps the students out. It's a big win, triple win for everybody on this program. So this day is going to be about 2 hours of speakers with Jason Tizko, talking about the school district. I think Dr. Tom's actually going to be speaking for this also, kicking us off. Thanks for that. And ends with about 2 hours, about an hour and a half really of quick connections, where each group that Rick's talking about is going to have a table. And all businesses invited are going to be going to each table like every 15 minutes to go around the room to see how they can be involved and help out the school district and help their businesses out also. So it's a big, not just go learn, but learn and volunteer also. And all proceeds for this go to 1649 also for the Rock County. So thank you.
Okay, just a couple more programs. Beloit College, we have a partnership with Beloit College. Jessica Fox Wilson with Beloit College keeps us informed about what they're doing. I took, I think, 4 or 5 kids to the Miller-Upton Forum at Beloit College. It's in the fall. We're going to do that again, and hopefully we'll get more students that go to that program. Lunch and Learn, John Kaminsky and I started that quite a few years ago, and believe it or not, there spawned out of that 2 programs that you probably don't understand or don't remember how they started. 1649 was started actually out of the Lunch and Learn program. Ruben Burgos was one of our Lunch and Learn instructors, and he would go there every Friday and talk to the kids like I would and other people, and then he decided to make a movie, he and Robin Stutt, and that's how 1649 started. And it was Robin coming to our Lunch and Learn program for about a year, and then he decided to do 1649. So look how that's developed. Now you've got the Robin House, you got all this money going to the 1649 program, which is wonderful. And so that started because of Lunch and Learn. So you get offshoots of some of these programs. The other offshoot was the Kids Against Hunger. John Wong started that, and it was the trial group was with our Lunch and Learn kids. We had about 20 kids there and about 20 adults. We met every Friday. And so anyway, I'm just saying that the Lunch and Learn program is alive and well again, and that's going very, very well. Finally, the Inspire Rock County program is statistics as to how many hours are spent by the adults. That's a combination of Beloit and Janesville. As we go forward, I'm going to get numbers just for Beloit as to how many hours are actually spent just roll through that. We're trying to keep track of how many hours are spent, and this is part of Career Cruising, Inspire Rock County. And so with that, I think we'll end it up unless there's any questions. So I'm over my time limit, I'm sure. So, but it's all good stuff, and we're not going to report here every month. Maybe once a year we'll come and give you an update on what's happening. And so, any questions?
I just have a quick question about the Lunch and Learn.
Yeah.
I used to do that at Aldridge. Is it at all schools now, or
No,
is it just at the high school?
This was, Pam, was just at the high school
Okay.
For many years. And we actually got money for lunch for the adults from a fund out of the State Line Community Foundation. So there's money sitting in there for lunch for the adults, the wonderful cafeteria lunch, which we all participated in as adults. But the Lunch and Learn at Aldrich is a separate program, and I don't know who runs that, quite honestly.
So if a person wants to get involved with Lunch and Learn at the high school, what do they do?
John Kaminsky.
John Kaminsky.
Or Lindsay Healis also.
Or Lindsay.
So Lindsay meets with some people and makes their personality as an adult and finds the best student for that personality for that person.
Okay, and how do they
Which is
choose
really
those students? Is it students that are struggling in certain subjects, or
Well,
overall, or
The way
athletes?
John and I designed the program, we look for kids with 1 foot in the bad bucket and 1 foot in the good bucket. So, because it's frustrating to have a student, that is just not able to, be rehabilitated. I mean, some kids just aren't. So we want those kids that are marginal, and they're picked by the educators, and that's how they do it, and that's the way John and I designed it, and we've been able to turn a lot of kids around. And we don't just talk about grades, we talk about time management, managing your friends, and it just, I guess you'd have to talk to John to get the real, and Lindsay, about how the students are chosen.
And I imagine there are more students than you have volunteers?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so you welcome more.
We absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Dennis.
Mr. Barter, thank you for your efforts with this program, and I like it. But you had, I guess I just want to mention one thing. You had mentioned the diversity, and I look at the current members, and I don't see a great deal of diversity on this. So I would hope that you all would work better to get more people of color on this current membership roster.
Oh, that's a good point, and we will work to that effect. Ron Whitley, I know, is involved in the mock interview program. He's very, very involved in that program. And, we can't spread people like Ron too thinly, but it's a good point. And I think that I know Rini is, I'm not sure what her nationality is, but she's a person of color, and I think it's a good point. And we do have Anthony, and he keeps us on our toes, so he's co-chair. So yes, we will work to that effect.
And sir, I mention that because our students have to understand that they're going to be entering a diverse workforce, so we want to get them as prepared as most as possible. Thank you.
Yep.
Shelley?
Just one quick comment. Thank you, Rick, all of you. There's a lot of programs here that I didn't even know existed. I don't know how much these are publicized. So Jennifer, if there's not something on the website, for people that might be perusing the school district website, I mean, any place that we can think of to get that out there to say, whether it's a lunch volunteer or the mock interviews, I mean, there's a lot of, so anyway, just as a reminder, it would be nice to see something right there where people could do that. Because like I said, I didn't know a lot of this existed, and I think every program could grow with more volunteers. So thank you.
I want to just echo the thank you. You do guys make a huge difference. I have a son who participated in Lunch and Learn, so thank you. Also, the dinner time conversation over the mock interviews at my house was awesome. I was a little worried about being listed as someone's employer as their landscaper, but we got through that and talked about expectations. It's me. I don't really work them that hard. But it was a great family night, and so it really carries over into places that you don't probably anticipate. So thanks for all that you're doing. Makes a big difference.
Thank you.
And now, if Mr. Berkeley wants to join Mr. Bonds at the podium for an update on summer school.
Excellent. As you're aware, our summer school program has kicked off. This year we were committed to improving our programming for our students. Efforts were made to revamp our curriculum to make it more interesting and engaging and fun for students. Mr. Berkeley serves as our coordinator, and we appreciate all of his efforts for getting all of our students in class, on time, and having fun. And Mr. Berkeley is going to share some details and highlights.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Dr. Johnson. Tonight I will provide a brief update of summer school, which started June 19th. As you are aware, the goals of summer school were to increase student enrollment, improve programming and student performance, make summer school more convenient for families and interesting to students. Todd, Gaston, Cunningham, Aldridge, and BMHS will have 6 weeks of summer school ending July 28th. Hackett and Merrill will have 8 weeks of summer school programming ending August 11th. Our Even Start program is a 6-week program offered only in the morning. The elementary student instructional day was extended this year, ending at 2:15. The intermediate student day ends at 3:15, and BMHS student day ends at 12:05. All sites will serve breakfast and lunch. All principals I visited with during the startup week of June 19th reported a very smooth start. There was a water main break in the Hackett neighborhood, so water had to be temporarily turned off in the school. The problem was resolved late morning. The situation did not require closing of the school, and there was no disruption of instruction despite the incident. Parents were notified with a note sent home with each student. We were even visited by Dr. Johnson. Thus far, the enrollment number for summer school is 1,927. Registration remains open, so we anticipate that number will increase. For the first time, registration for summer school was completed through central enrollment, which proved to be very efficient. There was extensive outreach to staff to work summer school. As a result, the majority of staff hired this year are district employees. A comprehensive elementary and intermediate professional development orientation was provided by the Department of Curriculum and Instruction in the areas of math, technology, literacy, and science. The PD orientation was added this year prior to the start of summer school to ensure that instructional materials will be used effectively to maximize student learning. Secretarial staff also participated in a professional development orientation designed to reinforce medical and first aid procedures. I want to highlight the positive response from Merrill and Hackett families. As you are aware, this is the first year that a summer school program was designed specifically for their students only. The staff response was also outstanding at both schools. With any new pilot program, it will take time to demonstrate the need for such programming. I am happy to report that a total of 242 students have enrolled between the two schools. We are looking forward to increased enrollment numbers at those sites for next year. Enrichment opportunities are in place that include field trips, culinary arts, hands-on science, games, art, Lego math, making music, strength and conditioning are just a few enrichment offerings. Credit recovery classes, initial credit classes, as well as various AP classes are in place at BMHS. Students will have the opportunity to take advantage of the rich resources located in the Library Media Center at every site for the duration of summer school. To take care of daily medical and first aid needs, a health room assistant under the guidance of the district nurse will be located at each elementary and intermediate site. Once again, we have our virtual learning students enrolled in summer school. In closing, it took a team of people working very hard to ensure that summer school would be successful. They include principals, professional and support staff, central enrollment, the Department of Curriculum Instruction, the HR department, and many others. To all, I say thank you. With that, are there any questions?
Dr. Johnson, go ahead. I'll go after you.
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Berkeley and to Mr. Bonds. It was several months back that the administration promised a new approach to summer school, a robust approach, increased enrollment, making it fun, making it academic at the same time. And I will say, too, being at the sites, it was by far the smoothest opening that I've ever seen. So thank you to everybody and all the folks that Anthony has worked with in the Department of Teaching and Learning and Innovation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to echo that as well, Mr. Bonds and Mr. Berkeley. In my commitment to getting out to schools, I did a visit last week at Gaston. I didn't call the principal. I wanted to do a surprise visit. Mrs. Herford was very accommodating to me. We walked around. Everything was orderly. The buildings were clean. The kids were engaged. It was fun. The food, I was impressed to see that the students had the opportunity to eat. And what I really also liked was, I don't know if it's the Boys and Girls Club, but after summer school, there was some after-school support in the food area. So the students were engaged with the activity. So hats off to you gentlemen for doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just have a quick question because I'm the numbers person. So the 1927 enrollment this year, what was the number last year, Anthony?
2,059.
Darn it.
Pardon me?
I said it went down then this year a little
Well,
bit.
but remember, registration is still open.
Okay.
And I just received notice before I came here that our virtual learners, school learners, were not included in that number, and she projects 40 students.
So it'll be about this, it looks
It
like
should be about
the
the
same
same.
as last year.
And also, don't forget, with the changes in the amount of time, every minute students are in school, we are reimbursed for that. So it is a bonus. It is a plus for the district because all of those students are now in a longer day, which benefits them and also benefits the district.
Thank you both. I look forward to seeing this continue to grow and seeing the results in student performance because I think we're going to make a positive difference there with this. So it's exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Mr. Bonds is going to provide us with an ad hoc academic achievement update. I want to add that I had the opportunity to have a very good dialogue with one of the subcommittees and was very impressed with the level of conversation, the commitment from those in our community who otherwise wouldn't have to be there but choose to be there to make a difference and recommendations to the district. So,
thank you, and I'll be brief as well. The ad hoc committee met on June 19th. It was a subcommittee work night. Each of the 4 subcommittees met individually to continue their discussions and research into our current programming and to future practices or future programming opportunities for the district. One of the subcommittees met with Dr. Johnson, Another subcommittee also met with all of the 4 intermediate school principals to discuss the schools themselves, as well as questions they may have related to programming for students and how schools are run. And so I want to thank all of our principals and Dr. Johnson for attending the committee. I also want to thank our entire committee for all of their work. It is summertime and they are still there, and so I want to thank those individuals for their commitment and their efforts and for being there. Thank you.
And Dr. Williams will now give us our equity update for the month.
Good evening. You know, my mother used to say it's a sad dog that won't wag his own tail. So all those great things that are going on within the school district of Beloit. So if there's anybody out there who thinks there's not great things going on, you got another thought coming. So thank everyone for the work, and thank Dr. Johnson for his leadership in giving us a little leeway to make some things happen. I want to thank everyone at the high school for the victory tour that went on for graduation. It was absolutely outstanding. It was very robust. The kids, they absolutely loved it, and we want to thank that whole high school team for that. I wanted to send a special shout out to Ms. Hickman and the Back to Beloit committee. That was an outstanding celebration at La Casa Grande. There was over 125 people from Beloit and people who were from Beloit who came back for this particular event. I believe it's a biannual event, and thank you for allowing us to support that event. It was absolutely outstanding, and they gave out several scholarships to some of our students. One of our students, the former student representative to the board, Yolanda Johnson, received one of those scholarships to go to college along with other students. Very excited about that. The Ad Hoc Diversity Committee, we met twice and to review the equity recruitment and retention plan, and you'll hear more about that at the next meeting. I want to thank Community Action. We have had several meetings to talk about what next year is going to look like for our expelled students. Our goal is to expand those services for those students. Instead of those students attending from 3 to 5, is to expand it from 9 to 2 during the day to provide those students with more academic services. I want to thank the Black Male Role Model Group. I know we've talked about Grow Your Own quite a bit. Our final numbers were around $45,000 for the year. And I want to thank the Black Male Role Model Group because last week they walked in and gave us a check for $500 to support the Grow Your Own scholarship. And a special shout out to Gustavo Badilla, who was our first recipient of that award. The volunteer program. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear, you're going to see, you're going to hear us talking about volunteering inside of our schools to help our students. This is going to be a program that we're going to be looking at throughout, looking for support throughout the community. I just want you to think about what Frederick Douglass once said. It's easier to build strong students than repair broken men. If you think a child only educated at school is an uneducated child, so it takes all of us working together to help build our students. So whenever you see the form to volunteer, I want you to think about those words. I also want to thank the people at the Merrill at Clippers and Curls for the program, for the Merrill Center enrichment program. There's over 125 students who we help support in that particular program within our community at this point in time. And if you came in a little late, you probably saw them out there on the baseball field. And lastly, I want to thank Community Action again. We have 7 students who are in the We Are program, and they are mentoring and providing academic services to over 40 of our kids after summer school at Community Action on a daily basis. And again, Yolanda Johnson, our former student rep to the school board, she's one of those students who are providing that service. It's a great program. Pending your questions.
Dr. Williams, you're a very modest person, and you had mentioned about the Back to Beloit. They acknowledged you. What award did you get?
It was a humanitarian award.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on to next agenda item, reports to the board. If I can get committee reports, finance and transportation.
So the chair asked me to do it since I chaired the meeting. She had other obligations. The Finance and Transportation and Property Committee met on June 20th. It was a very short meeting. We looked at the insurance overview. Jamie discussed the district's property and liability insurance coverage for 2017-2018. The district will see a reduction in premiums due to a lower mod rate for workers' compensation. We received a comprehensive transportation update, the bus services for our students in the district. The gentleman discussed the transportation services, our PBIS and disciplinary referral systems. The committee approved the PA and bail system for Aldrich and McNeil Middle Schools. We entertained the CISA 2 contract and had a discussion about pre-employment worker comp bid awards, and it was awarded to Beloit Health Systems. There were no budget amendments. We approved the waiver of rental fees for the Wisconsin Bike Federation, and the meeting was adjourned at 6:29 p.m.
Thank you, Dennis. Moving on to curriculum and instruction.
Thank you, Lori. Curriculum and instruction met on June 20th. Our first item was Students on the Move, a report from their committee. Mr. Bonds addressed their recommendations. The first was to extend recess, changing our cold temperature from 0 to 0 degrees from 10 degrees with wind chill. And reported that the administration is working on playground equipment for the intermediate schools. One correction was noted in that the board report stated that the board has approved that financial support. What we're looking at is they're still putting those numbers together for us so that we can approve it. We had a very lengthy presentation from Merrill School. Betsy Schroeder was the primary person who gave the report, although she was assisted by many of her staff. She gave a report on their reform efforts. A couple of things of note. One of the things that was most important about her presentation was the adoption and information about academic parent and teacher teams, commonly referred to as APTT. Essentially, what this means is that teachers and parents become a team, and instead of teachers giving information to parents, teachers and parents are working together in partnership. They have 2 to 3, it's not in the minutes, but 2 to 3, 4 conferences a year. Several of these are in team form so that the teacher meets with the group of parents. They are given instruction on how to support their child in their instruction in school and things to work on at home, and then parents are able to replicate those things at home. They went through many, many ways that they have been trying to increase their parent involvement. Things like having meals, they actually have caravans, ways to go out and assist parents in getting to those meetings. They've had very good response, and of the families that are there that have come regularly, they get even better response and improvement in test scores. And she continued to say that they will be continuing their training through the West End, which is supporting them in that effort. Lastly, they talked about their discussion and their parent involvement in having school uniforms. I suggested that they were sort of uniform-like or uniform light, because they're not typically, when I think of what a uniform is, it's certainly not a plaid shirt or plaid skirt and dress shirt. They were really just nice, simple uniform polo shirts. They had a lot of parent support on that topic. So that was really a very lengthy presentation. We had a short presentation from Mr. Bonds about the Academic Achievement Ad Hoc Committee, and we adjourned at 5:09.
Question about that. I'm trying to remember what was said about the timeline for the playground equipment. That's something I'm hoping that we're gonna be dealing with and getting back to.
If I remember correctly, it had to do with getting the vendors in line and getting prices from them. So it's a matter of just
Okay.
hearing back.
So Dr. Johnson, will we have playground equipment in the September? Is that the plan?
I would hesitate to say that without talking with our facilities person at this point and Jamie Morath, but I will tell you that pending board approval, we will have playground equipment this fall.
At all schools?
At the 4 intermediate schools.
4 intermediate.
Correct.
And we already have it at
The primary schools.
primary
Correct.
schools. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to policy and personnel.
The Policy and Personnel Committee met on May 23rd. The meeting started at 5:30 p.m. We discussed personnel recommendations. It was a very short meeting, and the meeting adjourned. It says at 6:44, but I think it was 5:44. The Policy and Personnel Committee also met on June 20th. The meeting started at 5:18. The committee looked at personnel recommendations. The committee approved the resolution authorizing the board hearing an expulsion officer. There were a couple of policies for first read, which was the use of body cameras. And then there was a policy for revision that dealt with policy 882.1 to 882, relations with law enforcement. We had a legislative update, and board member Pam Charles was appointed to serve as the legislative rep, and then the meeting adjourned at 5:52 p.m.
Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Any comments? All right, moving on, can I get a motion for approval of the consent list, please?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, approval of the consent list is done. Moving on to business action items. May I have a motion for insurance overview and approval?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is it possible, President Endres, for us to include C through J in one motion?
Yeah, except I would like to hold out E, which is the pre-employment workers' comp bid, because I need to abstain from that vote since it involves my employer.
I see. So why don't we do C and D,
Okay,
and then
that one, and then group the rest of them?
Right.
Okay. Can I have a motion for C and D?
Move approval?
All those in favor?
aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to have H. I have a question about H. It's just a really quick question.
Okay,
If we're going to vote in one lump there,
okay.
we're not, okay.
So can I go ahead and take, may I have a motion for E, pre-employment workman's comp bid?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'm abstaining. Do you have that, Michelle? We good? Awesome. All right, so how about, can we do F and G, and then we'll go H? Is everybody okay with that? Okay, can I have a motion for F and G?
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item H,
Move approval. Second? Yeah.
Oh, second.
And then my quick question is, the fiscal impact, how is it determined if it's 48,000 or 75,000? I'm just confused on that. Because I thought this was a position where we paid a lump sum regardless of how many expulsions were held, or is it based on the number of expulsions?
So one of the hearing officers, Ms. Medina, is a flat fee. And then Mr. Mike Holland, the judge, he is paid per time.
Okay, that explains.
Okay.
So this includes both. Thank you.
All right, if we're ready, no other comments? All those in favor? Oops, sorry. Got it. Okay, Michelle, can you take it away for me?
Aye.
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 Are we good, Michelle? All right, moving on. Item I, policy 882.1, use of body cameras.
Are we want to move table or no?
This item, it's for first reading.
Okay.
We can move forward
Okay.
with this recommendation, and then with further conversations with the police department as they develop policies, we may end up tabling it for the next round.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. J is personnel recommendations. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to discussion items. Items of interest for consideration at future meetings.
Just a reminder that I think we've talked several times about inviting new employees to the board meeting. Now that we're getting to the beginning of the year again, I anticipate having some new employees. Just want to make sure they're invited to the board meeting. I think it's important to recognize them. I know you remembered. I just wanted to make sure you remembered. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Moving on.
no, I have. Sorry. I have a few. One is that about a month and a half ago, I requested that we review the code of conduct, and we agreed to do that, but it never happened. And that, by policy, is supposed to be reviewed every year. I think in light of the things we've been hearing about ever since February, I think it's important for us to review the code of conduct.
We did.
When did we do that?
Emily did the presentation.
Presentation was done when? Oh, that was, I thought that was more of expulsion data. I remember that presentation. Okay. Okay. I was just wondering if we could bring it for a board discussion so that we could possibly discuss any changes that board members might like to make. If it's come, I'd like just a short discussion on it again, because when I asked for it, there was said that it hadn't been reviewed. So I'm just confused about that, but I would like to have it come back for a discussion if that's okay.
I think, and I could be wrong, we'd have to go back and look, but I think at that time, we did say that that would be on a rotating, that we would keep that at the same time a year. Am I correct? And it would come up at the same time so that we never missed an annual review.
Okay, because when I brought this up, I said, has it been reviewed? And everyone said no. And so, I mean, I remember the conversation, I participated on the phone, it had to do with expulsion data and all that, but I don't remember like us being able to offer suggestions on how to improve the code of conduct. So I would.
That was.
I usually do the expulsion data fall, September-ish, because that's when Lawrence had a chance to compile all of her data and put it in a report form. So I think that's always an easy way to talk about it.
Yeah, if we could have that opportunity to just maybe discuss ideas we have about it. I didn't feel like that was appropriate at that other time. Another thing is that we have.
Well, I have a quick question, Pam. If we have already done this, would it be more appropriate to send this through policy?
I think it should come through policy. That's what I mean. I think it needs to come through policy for the annual review.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then something that changed that I'm just wondering if it was not a board discussion that I know of, but we no longer put personnel recommendations in the packet online like we used to. And I feel like that was a transparency thing, and there are a lot of people that would go online and look at personnel recommendations, and now they're not there until the last day. And I personally sometimes don't feel like I have enough time to read through it all and to consider it all. I feel like the board should get everything sooner, and getting it the day of is sometimes not enough time if you have questions or if you want to get more information. It's kind of short notice. And then again, the public, when you put the packet online and it doesn't have any, it looks like there aren't any. And it doesn't say revisit this site, on Monday, or no, it's just like it's not there. And I feel like, we're all trying to be transparent, but we're not showing them a very important part of our packet.
We are still being transparent. We moved the recommendations to be posted on Monday because previously you were getting them when the packet was posted, but then you get a revised copy, and that's where we were not being transparent because the individuals who had reviewed the one that was initially posted was not getting the revision. So to take away there being duplication or confusing the two documents, we took it out of being posted when the initial packet's posted. It's posted on Monday, and that is the only copy of employment recommendations that go out.
Okay, so there will never be an amended one sitting at our table anymore.
I am not willing to commit to the word never, but that is not the plan. The plan is for it to be that one document.
Then could we put something up? Because if just if someone looks at the website, they think there isn't any. Could we put something up saying
we could put a placeholder in there? We can do that.
And if it said this will be available Monday, then they would know, I want to see this, I'll come back Monday, instead of there just aren't any. And it looks, to me, it maintains the transparency.
We can do a placeholder for the initial posting and then take that placeholder out and then slip it in. But Dr. Johnson, I believe, had a comment.
I just want to add for the public's benefit that our employee recommendation forms that are posted online are far more comprehensive than the majority of school districts in the state of Wisconsin. We give far, far more information to our public than other districts. So I just want to make that clear to the public.
And I appreciate that, but I just hate to see us give far less now. So, I mean, we're still giving it, but it's just coming late and people are looking for it and it's not there. So I like the idea of a placeholder that says this will be posted, this document will be posted Monday or whatever. We could come up with something like that.
And Pam, I think the record should reflect, I was the one that approached the human resources. I always get that wrong. When I became policy chair, I met with her, and I know that we received the personnel recommendations, and then many times we would receive another copy. It would be at our chair when we came at the meeting, and so I asked Deetra if she would be so kind to get that to us as early as she could on Monday to give us time to look at it, so that we won't, so we wouldn't have to dialogue a great deal to move the meeting forward. So I don't think that their intent had anything to do with
I understand.
the
No, the
lack of
intent I
transparency.
understand, but the transparency is what I like. And if we give more than any other district, then good for us.
Yeah.
And I would just like the public to look through that and go, oh, I'll check back Monday. It says here it'll be Monday instead of there aren't any. Then the other thing is, last year we didn't do any WASB resolutions. And for Wendy's sake, I'll tell her that the WASB resolutions are presented, the board votes on if we want to bring one to the state conference. And if we do, they are sent to WASB's Policy and Resolution Committee, which I'm now going to be a part of. And the Resolution Committee reviews them all and votes on which ones they want to bring to the state delegate meeting. So last year we didn't do any. I don't know if we did the year before. You did one? Okay. So this year I'm hoping we can have a little discussion on possible resolutions, and by that meaning, is there something that you would like to see changed in the state statute? Once it's voted on at the state convention, the ones that pass go to lobbyists and they are taken to Madison and they try and get those made into law. So I hate to pass that opportunity up again. We should at least have the discussion if we don't come up with anything, that's fine. But as soon as Amy Laudenbeck and Mark Spreitzer get through with all this budget stuff up in Madison, I'd like to invite them to come and talk to us, and then hopefully after that, we'll have some more thoughts on WASP resolutions. Should I keep going and finish my list?
Oh, I'm not the president. She's the president.
Oh, I thought you were. Okay. So then the other one is superintendent evaluation. I was hoping that we could meet about that and decide if we're going to change policy or.
So I think, and this is my fault because I didn't get a chance to get back to you, I think you're reviewing the old policy. We already have a new policy.
No, I reviewed the new one.
Okay.
But the timeline, aren't we off?
Not by new policy, correct?
Well, I reviewed the one that's online.
The one that's online is the old policy. It hasn't been updated yet.
Okay.
So the new policy is on its way to being
All right,
put
I'll
online.
have a look at that then. And then we already mentioned the resource officer report. I appreciate what Dorothy Harrell had to say tonight, and it is a good idea for us to get a report from the resource officer and see how that's been working over the years. The COLAC listening session is tomorrow for this neighborhood. Is it posted so the board members can all attend if we want?
Yeah, you will send an agenda.
It is, okay. And the last time I looked, I didn't see it. And then the last thing is we had the workshop last night with board email policies being discussed, and I made an amendment here that I hope the policy and personnel committee will look at. I just put names on a few of them that might need them. But just having to do with what the attorney discussed last night as far as board emails, and I found that our policy didn't address that. So Dennis, I was hoping that your committee might have a look at that.
Okay.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. Done.
There's a couple of things. Board Member Charles, that email for the agenda for tomorrow came out at 5:32 this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I guess the other thing that I would be remiss if I didn't do this. Emily, you did a great job in that presentation with the disciplinary code. You opened it up. You asked us questions, and so you did your part, okay? And the issue about the evaluation for the superintendent, we just did it, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes, we just did it. The old policy, if you review the old policy online, it's still reflecting a timeline that has been changed.
Okay.
Am I speaking? Jump in if I'm off base here. So what we need to do is just make sure that everybody's got that new policy, that they've reviewed it, because we are on time, on track.
Yep. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. To announce that the next business meeting is July 25th, and with that, I'd like to adjourn this meeting and go back to the special board meeting that we recessed.